Hi, I'm Joanna Steele and I'm here at the Inspire Africa Conference and I'm here with Tokumbo Ige, the founder of Africa Nunya. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank
Joanna.
you.
Thank you.
And how's your Inspire Africa Conference experience been so far?
It's been great. It's I guess I'm from that generation, and I've come to be part of what is predominantly a conference with younger people, which I find fascinating. I work a lot with young people, and that's one of the reasons why I came. So it's been quite an experience. I think it's one of the things that must continue. The discussions must continue. The dialogues must continue. You know, when you think about the fact that we don't really have formal schools in which most of these soft issues are being taught, you need these kind of meetings to be able to build people's capacity, let them realize that they're not alone. Because whatever it is, any form of entrepreneurship, whether you're a startup in the tech jargon or you're an SME in the development jargon, it's not an easy ride. It can be a very lonely ride. And so when you come to a place like this, you're reassured because you hear other people's stories, you meet other people, and then you think you come to realize that, well, whatever difficulties I'm having, I can actually overcome them. And then for some other people, it's a place for them to make up their mind, is this really what I want to do? Do I really fit in? Should I be doing it this way or the other? So I think it's always worth it.
Brilliant, and we've been privileged to have you here with us. So you were speaking on a panel. The panel was around building ecosystems and how enabling communities of innovation and prosperity, right? So building ecosystems is hard, enabling communities of innovation and prosperity. What were some of the discussion points that came out of that particular panel?
I think one of the key points was about collaboration. First, it's collaboration within the startup community itself. And then, of course, collaboration across the board. And then there was a lot of talk also about the importance of public-private sector implication, to have a symbiotic relationship. We also had discussions around education, the very, very important thing that must happen. We also, personally, I spoke a lot about us keeping our eyes on the realities. What's the definition of a startup? A young man or a young woman who sets up a business to develop a tool, to develop an app, to develop a product. Product for who? So I talked about purpose-driven. I talked about value-based. Because at the end of the day, in order for a start-upper to convince a farmer in the back end of the bush somewhere who's doesn't have to be a poor person, that now I will give you an app that will help me to take your tomatoes to the market. The farmer will tell you that I am a farmer, I'm not a trader. I farm, I build, somebody else needs to go and sell it. Now, so you're looking at a process in which whatever tools we're creating have to have meaning with those who are supposed to use it. So you need that needs-based approach. And we also discussed the importance of impact and how we measure that impact. In an earlier panel, there was a very important statement made about who's defining our success. How are we defining success? Is success about money? Is it about numbers? Is it profit over impact? Or is it impact over profit? So there were quite very interesting issues that came up. And I think that it's a dialogue that has started, a conversation that has started. And I think it's a conversation that needs to be intentionally pursued. So I'm looking forward to the after-conference discussions. I'm hoping there'll be some. I think also one of the other things that I picked up from the panel was the fact that education has not been given the priority that we need to give to it. We need to give, education about the whole concept of innovation, the role of startups so that the ordinary person with whom we have to relate, either as people who need to use whatever tools that we are producing or people who need to convince others to do so, know exactly what it is that we're talking about. So I think the panel did emphasize the importance of startups not being in their silos, but ensuring that there's a cross, cross profession, cross pollination. If not, startups will come to their own meetings, SMEs will go to their own meetings, and Africa is not likely to develop in that process. We were very positive about 2030 and the tech system.
Which is not that far away.
Which is not that far away, because where I sit, I tell myself it mustn't die. But it's not dying or it's not becoming irrelevant is actually in the hands of the startups themselves, because it's going to be about them, about their capacity to be resilient, about their capacity to be people-based, people-oriented, to be needs-based, and to always be humble, to know that you don't create an app before you have asked your potential target group or users. You need to first go to them and find out what exactly their needs are, because what we perceive as needs may not be their needs. The angle you want to take might not be the angle they want to take. So in order to make sure that there's no disconnect between the product and the potential users, then it would be important for them to always go there first before creating. So I think this was some of the issues that came up.
And how have you kind of brought some of that idea of, creating something that customers need and that sort of value into kind of your own businesses, right? So you founded African Nunya
and Togo Mall.
Tell us a bit more about both of those brands and how you've developed them over time. Really, tell us a bit more about that.
Well, African Nunya is a think tank, and so most of the work we have done there is to pull people together on some of these issues. Now, when we look at our youth entrepreneurship discussions, that is actually one of the reasons why we set up Togo Mall. There are two main reasons. One was the fact that you have beautiful products being made by SMEs in Togo, and what we call the Grand Surface, the big supermarkets, Champion, Ramco, and so on, were always hesitant to take our products and put them on their shelves because they're made in Togo. I mean, one would have thought that they would embrace so easily. But anyway, we had discussions with government, and government put pressure on them, and so they create then a little space, and then they put the little Togolese flag on that.
It's a start.
It was a start. But then we thought to ourselves one day, no, enough of this. If you won't take us, we'll do it ourselves. And so we came together, it's about 100 of us now, and set up this mall. For some people, they see it as a supermarket where you can buy everything made in Togo, at least so many things, from agroalimentaires, transformed agricultural products, to clothes, to artisan, pottery, and stuff like that. But it's evolved.
Okay.
It's evolving into a practical accelerator. In what sense? Now I have 5 people who make groundnuts the same way. They take it, they grill it and put it in a bottle. And they're all lined on the shelf. So I have an opportunity to, because the products are in the shop there, to say to them, guys, let's talk. What do we see? Is this what we want? Is this all we can do? Groundnut, you can make at least 4, 5, 6, 7 things directly from it. Why aren't we completing the value chain? So you kick off a reflection with them. People don't see each other now as competing with one another, but more as trying to work with one another in order to improve a particular product. And so as you open that door to becoming a sort of accelerator, you now have to respond to their questions, their problems. we are at a point at which we are setting up TAVI, which is the Entrepreneurs Village Initiative, which is actually a one-stop shop where you can get help, from psychological help, financial help, tax and fiscality help, marketing, communication, all the things that the hubs do. But what we're doing is that we're putting the people right there on the spot. So the people are also young entrepreneurs with different professional backgrounds who can seek other support from more experienced people when the needs be. But when an entrepreneur has a problem on a particular subject, it's almost like going to the clinic. So you go to the clinic and you see if you have a stomach problem, then you see the gastroenterologist or whatever they call them. And if it's a headache, then you see the general doctor. The purpose is to make sure that all of the businesses in Togo Mall are investment ready, just in case they're interested in that, but also export ready. Export ready because Togo is a small country. Export ready because we are members of the ZLECAf, the Africa Free Trade Agreement. And the only way by which we can go into that market to compete is to hold each other's hands, ensure we arrive at the right quality, at the right, everything, and then go together. Because if today somebody said to me, I need a container of groundnuts, I don't know how many people I'm going to have to call in order to get that. Yeah. And if you ask me to do that, the first question they'll ask me is, where do you want me to get the money from, Mama, to produce these groundnuts? So TAVI is now, TAVI and Togo Mall and African Union are now reflecting on, do we need our own fund? Because we've spoken with the banks. I became a business angel all because of this. Yet our people are scared of going for the loans. It's almost like you're taking them to a shark's den or something. And so, one thing is leading to another. That's why I keep calling it a practical accelerator, with the end purpose being that a business was made to grow. A business was made to have profit. And we must help each other to get to that. So this is the way in which collaboration is being used, in which public-private partnership is being used, because our mall is actually in the National Trade Fair Center. We pay our rent to government, but at least the fact that we're in that space is very helpful. It's 5 minutes to the airport.
It's symbolic as well, right?
It is symbolic also. So it's those things that we're putting together and trying to use to push this. Now I guess Togo Mall, it's only about a year older, but in this 1 year I've learned a lot, and we're still learning, and we'll continue to learn. And I think that these kind of experiences being shared in a room like this is also very helpful, because we adopted, majority of us are SMEs, by definition SME startup, but we have startup as support. So we have MiaPay, which is our payment system, which is founded by a young Togolese. We have, what's the name of the other one, who also helps us with the one is developing our e-commerce. The other one is looking at the movement to the logistics and the movement of our products from farm to where they have to be, to where the manufacturing and the processing takes place. And so, so it's those ideas that are now coming. So we actually are having that collaboration picking up between the tech boys and girls and the SME boys and girls.
Brilliant. And so you're already doing that, right? And so I think it's good to hear the kind of tangible kind of examples of that happening and the benefits of that happening, because none of us can do this alone.
No.
No,
No.
not at all. Brilliant. So a couple of other questions before I let you go. I know it's been a long day. So what are the challenges that people scaling in the African market have faced, and how? And speaking from your own experience, right? You talked about operating in different countries and kind of what the challenges have come with that, and how have you overcome those, or any advice or anything?
It's work in progress. But if I would think of a couple of challenges, one is that a lot of our entrepreneurs don't understand their markets. Quite a few understand the local market, but anything beyond local, you lose them. And the other thing, even within, and in my experience with these entrepreneurs, a lot of them think the only thing that's important is that I have a product. They forget that the product on its own doesn't sell. There's a whole, ecosystem around it, including beginning with the entrepreneur himself or herself. So you have people who have good products but have no structure. So when it comes to wanting to scale, it becomes a problem. And we also have the pressures that come with the way community is evolving, social media and all these things, that a lot of our young entrepreneurs are melting, they're having a meltdown. But nobody must talk about that. You're all supposed to pretend that everything is okay. And before you know it, you have somebody saying to you, oh, Mama, after 6 years, 7 years, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm like, an entrepreneur never says I'm not doing this anymore, because as one of the speakers said, you love the problem. And so you dedicate yourself to it. And so there is no, I'm leaving. Now, the other thing is, I think entrepreneurship became a trendy thing like fashion. And a lot of people jumped on the gravy boat or the gravy train. And I think that in a few years, we're going to be seeing some people drop off.
I think it's really happening.
It's happening.
Yeah.
And so what will happen is 5-10 years down the line, we'll see what has become of this. My prayer is that something solid is going to come out of it, that we're really going to have some businesses that have really gone up, that are really able to stand the test of time. Because Africa cannot afford to fail in this one.
But I think as well, actually, sort of from an African perspective, although I said there's a shift where entrepreneurship is sort of all the rage and it's kind of dying down a bit, that's probably actually more from a Western perspective. I think the beauty, arguably, in the African market is that because jobs are quite scarce, we're kind of forced to be entrepreneurs. And so it's almost like we don't have a choice in a lot of ways, you could argue, right?
Yeah.
And so therefore, that just means there's bound to be success.
Well, I hope I can be as optimistic as you are, that there's bound to be a success, because at the same time, you need to be wired in that direction in order to make a success of it. Entrepreneurship, as we say in French, it's not for weak boys. It's for strong women. And you will see that a lot of those who actually hold the businesses are the women. So I hope that your optimism can be founded, and in that in a few years, really, when 100 people come out and say we're entrepreneurs, 5 years, 10 years down the line, we can have 20 of them that are actually scaling. That would be, for me, that would be success. Even maybe less than 20, but let's just say 20 of them, scaled. Now, is that good enough for the developmental growth and pace that Africa needs? That's another question. And that's one of the reasons why I still insist that anything technology must be aimed at something developmental, whether it's education, health, agriculture, commerce, whatever it is. It must be. It cannot be. You cannot wake up and just have an idea of innovation and then create an app and then Who's going to use it? It has to be, and it has to be useful, because a lot of money is going into the building of these tools. So it has to obviously have a good impact. It's not just to make returns for anybody. It's actually that it can have that impact. So yeah, let's wait and see. I guess it's a wait and see game.
We'll see. And so a couple of other questions. So what trends or development do you see in the tech and product space that you believe will shape the future of Africa's startup ecosystem? Of course, we had a panel about AI, but are there other things that that you think will help shape the future?
I think I'm more inclined to look at it from the other side, not necessarily from the tools, but in which other areas of Africa's developmental potential it would have impact. And so when you look at the creative industry, for example, sports, arts, theater, and all that, I mean, already you can see what technology has done to Nollywood and whatever other woods we have around. And when you look at what the guys in the sports industry are now doing, that also has a lot of potential. Because don't forget that when you look at North America, most of the black sportsmen and women that you see there, I mean, I guess 80% of them are from Nigeria and the rest are other Africans. So there's potential there. So there's potential in music, there's potential in arts, there's potential in film, there's potential in sports. And so even if, going back to the question about there are no jobs or there are not enough jobs in Africa, even if people cannot make it as creating their own enterprises, businesses in the traditional way, you can still engage young people through the sports, through the arts. So there's potential. And I think what will really be important for me, just thinking off the top of my head, is that we have to intensify the sensitization that we're doing with young people. And I think our hardcore school curriculum and whatever that we have out there needs to be tweaked in such a way that it really gives children, young people, an opportunity to find something to do, because there is something to do. I mean, in Togo, I keep saying people, I also have a farm, and in Togo, I keep telling them that, we could turn this place into one big farm. And I believe would be probably the richest country, at least in West Africa, if we can do it, be in all of Africa. Why? Because 80 to 85% of Togo's land is virgin land. It's not been abused, it's not been whatever. But when you speak to an average young man, he doesn't want to stay in the village, he wants to come to the whatever. So we're promoting a lot more of agro-business, agro-tourism and whatever. And these are all the things that we need to do to have our younger generation. And I want to say something about what I'm also a little worried about, which I think we need to really bring back on the table, is that much as we feel, and it's right, it's true, that we're a young continent, we mustn't forget that what we are calling the older, should I say the older Africans, are not that old. And these are people who have also experience that can be very helpful. Because this is an anecdote. I have a friend whose son is in fintech. And she came to me and said, "Mother of youth," she says, "you need to teach your youth that they need to have people relationships and people relations, and they need to do that because these apps are going to be used by people." So I'm like, what are you getting on about? She goes, "Yeah, can you imagine my son? He thinks now that he's doing these things, he can, it's just about that." I'm like, I understand what you're saying. So, and I think, that's where I think that, we must use the willing adult community who have experience to remind, it's all about the soft skills, to remind the younger ones, to help them actually build all of those soft skills that they will need in order to push their products. Yeah.
Brilliant. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for your insights. And I'm glad to have learned more about you. after only sort of hearing about you in the last few days and being intrigued by the interaction on social media with when we posted out your speaker card about the conference. So I'm glad to have been able to sit down with you to Kumbo again. And safe travels back to... Are you going back to Togo?
Yeah, back to Lome tomorrow.
Brilliant. So thank you so much.
Welcome. Thank you. Thanks.